We have to start with this double standard that's been going on. One involves either players demanding a trade or organizations now with this new trend where players will be sitting out until they can find the best team to trade for a player. I wanted to ask you, Kevin, what do you think on this sort of double standard of who has the right to do what?
I think it's interesting that, players flex their muscle, owners flex their muscle, and fans suffer. I mean, in the end, that's what happens. So if you're a player, obviously, and you're demanding a trade, well, you're probably in a position of power or a position of somewhat greatness. So your absence is hurting the team. The team then decides you're not going to play. So that's hurting the team. And in the end, teams suffer, fans suffer. So I don't know. Doesn't make any sense.
What do you think about it, Pat? I mean, this is one of the things Draymond Green talked about it. LeBron tacked on top of that the fact that the owners have the leverage here. But it's interesting, this new move by the owners by basically saying, we're not going to play you, but we will find a better place for you in the future.
Yeah, I do find it interesting that for decades and decades and decades, right, when a player requested a trade, he was a villain. When a team did something like this, well, the team was doing what was best for them. Why can't the player do what's best for them? Like, I know Kevin's right. Like, it hurts all of us when all this stuff happens, and it sucks because I just want to see the best sport that I'm watching the entire time. But I do think that we lost sight a very long time ago that these guys, they're doing jobs, these men and women, right? These are careers that they're trying to, compete at. And if you were told by the company you work for, well, you can't go work somewhere else where you're going to be able to make more money and have better opportunities, well, we lose our damn minds. I find it interesting, and I love it that it's starting to come around that we're seeing the player's point of view. And Kevin, to your point earlier, you don't have to be a star to request a trade. Didn't Evan Rodriguez request a trade last season out of Buffalo?
Good point. Good point. Look how it's worked out. He's with the Penguins.
Yes, he is.
Now, if he was with the Penguins of like 16, 17, it would be one thing. But today's Penguins, you might as well be on the Sabres. Not quite.
Sometimes this actually works out. I mean, we've seen a couple players sort of demand a trade on the low, not really say anything, and then next thing you know, they end up on a better team in a better situation. Organization gets compensated. Then we've seen the other end where James Harden did not leave Houston very well, and it leaves sort of a scar on the Houston organization going forward on the way he handled it and the way they handled it.
Yeah, I mean, I always kind of put it in the basket of the team should be the one that the team is usually always the villain in this one, because very few times do players go public with trade demands without talking to management ownership first, right? Like if that player hasn't been moved yet, if something hasn't been done, it's because the team hasn't been acting in a quick enough way or they're trying to hold on to this player. Look, man, I mean, it's a game. All of it's a game from top to bottom. And if that player has the leverage, the ability to put themselves in a better situation, I can't fault them for it. Unless, of course, it's the team that I cheer for, in which case, how dare they?